liberty shall long be ours. Though new her name, great be her fame, and mighty be her power. Though new her name, great be her fame, and mighty be her power. And mighty be her power, and mighty be her power. 1, 2, 3, 4, in joy and gladness, with our hearts united, we'll shout the freedom of our rights united. Long live Liberia, happy land, this home of glory, liberty of God's command. This home of glory, liberty of God's command. All hail Liberia, hail, all hail, all hail.
Yeah! Evangelist G. Morris Nakama King, the 4th time. Yeah, Rado Kubabo, King Derebo, Rado Kubabo, Messiah, King Derebo, Rado Kubabo, Rado Kubabo, King Derebo, Rado Kubabo, that one, Rado Kubabo, Messiah, King Derebo, Rado Kubabo, Usuka Umpie. Dia kontela ka dia kwa isebo, wala saputa ya kapua ka ya kambosora abo. Ya kontela ka dia kwa isebo, wala saputa ya kapua ka ya kambosora abo. Ya kaida kada amo meno wa ya meno wa ya kuba. Eja mesade wodo kuto yo me kwada. Wo me ba jauta da bo ya kusa wodo. Eja ta no ye pe. Eja mesade da ko aye ko do be. No maka ka se pa ye unde kusa no wo ye plan ye wo ka. Da ye la sen ado da mo ka kwe. Ye do kusa ye ka ko ka no ka. Yeah, Rado Kubabo, Bukala Bebo, Rado Kubabo, Indelebo, Rado Kubabo, Usuka Umpie. Esa Masara Wolo Sauta Kiri Woku, Indelebo, Rado Kubabo. Ayakona Basa Kwasia, Sauda Nolewe, Uto Yaki Kasawo, Yikaroko Usu, Yikaroko Usuwaye. Saudade aye kayando kopia yele kongu dia twape na pie enando ye parane arado kubabo ki jisarado kubabo dedo amado sianga ye kwebo amame kubebo Bola zara zawo papa Bocambio, Devebo, Bocozona. Yeah, record. Ayena kona masa, Nkoyasia, Agua Copia, Nora, Hongo Queso, Aguga. Pasaro la complique. Uso ma bo contre le Uso mon bo Yahweh Umbakan e fare Bon paiba Uno baba jineba Jisa un piete Yon ta Yon kwatu yon prebu Yon piete Rupaye kapove Magwa uwe Ye kapone, nalo tuaroe. Soya grupa ye kapone, ne magwoe. Doye me grupa ye kapone, magwoe. Da cheese dokule ngalo twaoe de me ameka dokule ngalo twaoe de koya seka dokule ngalo twaoe de me ameka dokule ngalo twaoe de ija mai kwa dokule ngalo twaoe de ija gebra dokule ngalo twaoe rupa ye kapone magwaoe Soya grupa ye kapon Soya noko grupa ye kapon Ye karo kome grupa ye kapon Ya lo kuto grupa ye kapon Ye karo kuto grupa ye kapon Ya lo noko grupa ye kapon Sonko Menso Wabo De yabo Deko Sexy mama just shaking your mungasa for me, yeah. Sexy baby just shaking your mungasa for me, yeah. I say shaking it, baby shaking it. I say shaking it, baby shaking it. Nigga, I look good, baby look good, I look good, baby look good. I want you, baby, I will hold you. Oh my boy, you are just come to me. Cause I like you, baby. The way how you want it. When say I love that, baby, too good. Yeah, Bella, I love it. Yeah.
Feels yeah. Oh, I'm shaking my bunga sha. One in my sexy ways, and I know that you feeling it. Whoa. See, when I'm in the club, all the boys wanna know my name. But boy, only you I see tonight. I will go to my hall, pack my things and I run to you. Tell my friends and that's my new Jew. Whoa, yeah. So I will wanna go look for you, my baby boo. Wanna go look for you.
Sexy mama just shaking your mungasa for me, yeah. Sexy baby just shaking your mungasa for me, yeah. I say shaking it, baby shaking it. I say shaking it, baby shaking it.
This was so amazing for
I look good, baby look good, I look good, baby look good.
I like you, boy, and I want you to like me too. Yeah, because of you, my mind passes my phone. But then we chatting, talking plenty like sing. My baby, you know me, I fall off like they're bluffing. So if you want me, just come on the floor and jump me. Yeah, that they're rolling. You already know, yeah.
Sexy mama just shaking your mungasa for me, yeah. Sexy baby just shaking your mungasa for me, yeah. I say shaking it, baby shaking it. I say shaking it, baby shaking it. Nigga, I look good, baby look good, I look good, baby look
So I wanna go look for you, my baby boo. Wanna go look for you.
shaking it, baby shaking it. I say shaking it, baby shaking it.
This herbal remedy is proving popular in the battle against COVID-19, but with no proof it actually works. Madagascar's President André Rajoelina says it's so effective he's exporting it to the other side of the continent. Guinea-Bissau's president is also impressed. He visited the airport to welcome the new shipment.
This donation is a gesture in the fight against the global pandemic called COVID-19. I'd like to say with this, Guinea-Bissau will be seen in a very different concept of nationhood. It will be seen as a country that always has good people. And today, the world will talk about Guinea-Bissau.
It's the second country to have imported it. The herb, which is used as a tonic, contains the Artemisia plant, which is normally used to treat malaria. But the World Health Organization warns that the effectiveness of the herb has not been proven or even tested by scientists. But that hasn't stemmed its popularity. Tanzania's president says he's in talks with Madagascar to send a plane to collect a shipment.
Tulipopeleka sample We are already in touch with Madagascar. They wrote us an official letter informing us about their cure. We shall send our airplane to go and pick the drugs so our citizens can also reap the benefits.
Tanzania has recorded 17 deaths, but the government has been accused of failing to take the virus seriously. In the capital, Dar es Salaam, it's business as usual. Schools are shut, but markets, mosques and churches remain open. And back in Madagascar, the army has been knocking door to door to give the tonic to the most vulnerable people. The country has so far recorded few cases and no fatalities, but government actions have gone beyond the herb. Mask wearing and social distancing rules have been enforced. Measures medical experts say are effective, even if the tonic is not. Laura Bird.
Hi folks, wherever you are, I want to welcome you to this afternoon broadcast. I'm Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We want to welcome all of our viewers and listeners across the globe. It's 1:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Thank you, wherever you are, for sharing to your afternoon. My man Steve Bullitt right there from Phoenix, Arizona. Good afternoon. Jim Goodeflomot, one of the funniest sons in the media industry, doing an extraordinary job despite of the difficulties. What we are here to show appreciation to one of our own. To maintain relationship is extraordinary. It's difficult. It's difficult, especially when it is voluntary. It is difficult. Pretty close to 11 consecutive years. Mr. Mike Dant of Liberia, a veteran journalist, former station manager of Super FM of Kalano George, Councilor George. When he was dead, we started this partnership with Liberia Public Radio. At the time, it was Voice of G that I can remember. 11, 12 years now. Being one of the first, I can say, one of the first institution. At that time, there was no even live Facebook. We started working together as a team with the hope of creating or making an impact into society discussion, be it politics, social, economic, development, or diverse issues that are confronting the country. So let me acknowledge the presence of my own president here, President Joe Missing, the president of the Associations of Liberian Journalists based here in the USA. He's in the home in the state of Minnesota right here in the USA. And so Mike Dan, Sam Cratedro, Zoe Harris, and few other people. Most of the guys that are on the pack here, we all started as a team here. But it's also good. We know in the country we in, diversities and capitalism that is involved in the society, all of us people decided to go their way. But as head of this network here, on behalf of the chairmen and members of the board of directors, both here and inside Liberia, we want to say very a big thank you, and we say happy birthday to Mr. Mike Down. Like I said, relationship is very difficult to attain, especially somebody that is volunteering to you, not on salary, putting in your time, your energy, looking at a country like that. 11 years? It's not an easy task, and I can say here publicly that we are at the end of this marathon. Gradually we are there with all the other new folks that are adding to this network. We can say that we are almost at the finishing point. Bertin from Central to Liberia Banga, Mike Gray is in Sino, and other folks. Our man Daniel Gate is in Nima County. And we refuse to allow ourselves to be used because we see ourselves as a cardinal factor into the political discourse, social, economic discourse of Liberia, for which we refuse to be too close, too friendly to avoid being compromised. And we intend to operate as an institution, not just as an individual. Institutions in the sense that even when Alfonso So is out, Nathaniel Crypoor, who is a station manager, or the liberal progressive Samson Brown Toe, most of the time we are in disagreement because of his liberal idea is out. Betty, Mike Downs, and other folks' generation will keep the touch of the network burning, and that is key. And that's one of the reasons we see many of the reasons for which our institutions and society is failing, because we build and structure institutions around an individual. And this is what I always told them. If you don't want me to have a dominant power over this network, all of us have to do our share. All of us have to contribute equally. And that message has resonated very, very well. The folks in Liberia, we know it is difficult. They are not working, they are volunteering. But also what we require of them is to put in their time to do their part. And from all indication to have this young guy, the young man, and his team to still be with us. There are a lot of people that were with us. It would sound a little bit ridiculous here to call name, but all of these folks that are on the social network here, there's no one that I went through under the roof of the Liberia Public Radio. The transition process, at some point in time, there will be some sort of a deeper insight of this network here. How it came to being and how far we have come. It is important that we emphasize on this. People try to get on our skin during the 2017 presidential elections. I was privileged to interview most of the presidential candidates, not all, and they felt that we could be their voice or messenger or something, but we made it definitely clear. Because I can remember doing one of my trainings with the National Public Radio in here at Rhode Island, in my own state. It was very, very much helpful. And I remember this lady, Christine Goulet, she told me, this is a very hard business. If you want to be a journalist, don't expect riches. And I told them our goal was to model the style of the National Public Radio. You will see one of my program, All Things Considered, is one of my favorite program that I listen to on National Public Radio on my iPad, on my iPhone, or whatever, because this has caused a lot of critical issues. And I was to took me on a tour at their facility downtown Providence, right here in my own state of Rhode Island. There's an interview that I had, and they were asking a lot of questions. What I decided to. But make no mistake, those people get a pretty good insight of what is going on in your own country than you think. And I told them the idea, one of the cardinal reasons, and that's my own personal opinions, and most of those that are in this field, they will understand lack of information, the failures of effective disseminations of information, not making it proportional, is one of the reasons get us to be where we are, and we are still struggling trying to overcome that. And so if the country, Liberia, the society is to be changed, the media industry should play a cardinal role. And part of that is not to align yourself with political institutions, politicians, stakeholders, people that have influence in decision making. I'm not saying you should be very hostile or rude to them. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I'm saying you must be firm. Your friendship should not go to the extent that the institution or you as an individual will be compromised, because when that happens, the credibility of the institutions is at stake. And we have seen that happen over the time, from the administrations of Charles Gange Taylor, Helen Johnson Sirleaf, and now to George Weah. Guru media institutions and individuals tend to put the interest of themselves or their institutions than the institutions of the country. And we have seen that has happened over and over consistently, for which most of the time by the media industry is serve an individual, and the beauty, the quality that this brings to the table for national public discourse and openness in conversation is significantly fading away. You cannot do that. And if we are to protect this institution, to protect our country, we have to do everything possible to make sure that our institutions avoid being compromised. It is unethical. Joe amazing for the media men to accept gift or whatever form from politicians or stakeholders. When that happens, it puts the credibility of the institution first. And as far as I'm concerned, for the last 11, 12 years, the folks that we have been working with as Liberia Public Radio, we tell them out front, you are not coming to get on salary. It is voluntary job that you are doing. And I want you to be part and parcel, not to be a spectator. Because when you become a spectator, you sit on the stadiums and people are playing and all you do, you just clap. I don't want a clapping team. I want people who will fully participate, can make their own contribution to, no matter what it is. It could be financial, it could be your precious time and your commitment. And that's what these folks are doing. And one of the young men that has brought so much of energy, between from Central to Central to Banga. Imagine somebody getting on his own motorbike from Banga to Monrovia during the June 7 protests. We didn't gas it. By the time I look, we received a phone call. He was in Monrovia. Just 2 days ago was at the border, going places, going inside Banga to bring news out of his own volitions without even sometimes sending credit to him. And this is what we want to do here at Liberia Public Radio, to invest into the young generation so that they will understand what is going on in Liberia. There will come a time we need to sit back and allow the young folks to take charge. But because of the mentality of the concept that we have adopted and continue to recycle, be it politicians or people in the media or people in government, our unwillingness to bring new faces, new breed, is killing us. And so this is why these people feel that they are the only one. Without them, society cannot run. The media is a very, very cardinal factor into society building. You see in the here, we should be the one to unearth, to bring out. I'm not talking about innuendos, sound bites. I'm not talking about those sort of kitchen sing. I'm not talking about. If you even have those information and the failure on your part to follow the profession, if you are ordinary talk show host, you are some sort of a propaganda person for political parties or whatever, that is okay. But also remember, people that are listening to you, whatever you say, whatever you throw out there has the propensity to create chaos or to exacerbate the already ugly things that are happening. But as far as we are concerned, we are proud of our folks, what they have done so far, and we want to encourage them. And this is why we intend not to be beggars. Yes, we will ask when it is necessary. And that's what I told them. If you want this network to survive, we have to take an extraordinary role. We have to do the unusual. For the most part, we have raised funds for other people, institutions, or people that are in desperate. And we don't just get it and raise funds because we want to, because we also consider the factor that as long as we are tied to that, we are directly or indirectly to involve what they are doing, what we're going to be doing. Because if we come and we start to raise funds for institution or for individual without us doing our proper investigations and come to realize whatever funds collected is not right, then that would be inexcusable. So we have come a long way. And there's a lady that I have not even seen, not besides just talking on the phone. It was just one day by coincidence I got this phone call via messenger, almost a year plus now, and said we've been following the work of the Liberia Public Radio. Your conversations is authentic. Your conversations is genuine. Who can ever in America or wherever and just take your property and say, oh, take this 2 or 3 bedroom place without you paying a dime? You are contributing meaningfully to the country, and we have resided in that premises for almost pretty close to 2 years now. Mrs. Salmon called our old mines in that Maryland area there, and we are still in the house. So the journey that we are on, the marathon, the fight that we are on to change, to set the tone, to make communication much more easier, effective, not to keep it disproportional. And that's why we are anticipating, and we will get there by the grace of God, to have at least one person each in all the 15 political subdivisions in Liberia. People in Sano County, people in River G, people in Maryland, they are part of Liberia. Monrovia is just minute, being the political seat of Maserado does not give it an absolute power that only the cameras should focus on Capitol buildings, Executive Mansion, Temple of Justice, or National Police Headquarters. That is wrong. Then where are we living the rest of the country? And this is why Liberia Public Radio is working overtime, night and day, to make sure that our presence is felt and that every son's daughter, wherever they are, they will also be able to get the news that they deserve. I want to take this time to say a big thank you to Mr. Mike Dunn on his leadership. I have never seen a young man to be so humble and so respectful. When he needs to say no, sometimes he finds it difficult to say no. There's nothing extra we can do. But our job here is to make sure that the right thing is done. But with Nat Cry Paul, Mazula Gisi, Alan Jeru, and our liberal progressive Samson Brown Tour standing by me, life and well, and other good world Liberian Samaritan, I can assure you to Liberia Public, we are in it for the long haul, and we are in it for the Republic of Liberia. That's part of the ethics of journalism. So if you look at the elements, we are not obligated to politicians. We are not obligated to the President of the Republic of Liberia. Neither am I saying that we're going to disrespect them, or we're not going to honor them, but we are obligated to the citizens, making sure that the news that they deserve comes out. And part of that, this is what our association will always tell ourselves to people, professional, to institutions, to individuals that also value, that have our core value. And that's where the corporation now with the Liberia Public Radios and that of the African Start newspaper now is collaborating, making sure even if the journalist or media institution does it wrongly, we come out to speak. We are on record for that. We want to challenge other media institutions or media guru to also be bold to do that. Be it government officials, be it oppositions, be it advocate, no one should have an easy pass to say they are exempted. You see, the media industry in this country, it is not 100% by perfection, but they hold their leaders accountable. They are not selective when these people do it wrongly. It is not because you are liberal or you are conservative or you are this person. The media institutions check and hold them to responsible to the extent that when some of them make ridiculous statements, the pressure from the media industry makes these people to come back to apologize or either quit their elected office. But we know there are a lot of factors responsible for that in Liberia. Poverty is one of the key. So as a result, it is easy that people that compromise. I have gone to Liberia a couple of times, and when I go to the Charles Williams Memorial Hall on Capitol Hill, young folks who also have the passion, some of them, they manage to get to Central Monrovia for press conferences and no idea how to go back. They don't even get a little bag of water. that it is challenging. It is challenging. And then we want to call even on the press union and even the society. If you really need, public relations is a very expensive thing. If you think you just want to get things, information flow out to you there out of a charity without nothing, you are wasting your time. How do you think Washington Post, the New York Times, how do you think they break news? Those news, some of those things they are paid for to get them off the shelf. There are people have some classified information or something that they need to go. They are paid for in order to get out. Until we who are having these institutions, media outlet, or sitting to talk to people, whether you are for the opposition, whether you are for the government, or whatever message you are preaching itself, it must also be mature, it must also be seasoned, it must also be checked thoroughly to make sure what you are sending out there is right. Because I assume and I hope whatever that you are doing is in the interest of the country, not for your political leader or not for an individual. Because you know what? Where is William Vakana Shadrach Tutman today? Where is Bob Willie? Where is Samuel Doe? Where is Amon Concomitant Sawyer? Where is Judy Bryant? Where the 5 member council of state? The history of Liberia is huge. It's endless. You will talk and talk and talk until you can't get to the dead end. All of these people, they have come and gone. But the good thing is, the nation on the west coast of Africa called Republic of Liberia is still standing. That's the only thing all of us have to fight to preserve. Because these political leaders, we will chant for them here, we will call them this, we'll call them our lifesaver, we'll call them our redeemer, but they will fade away from the scene. But a country called Liberia will remain. And this is why we must tie ourselves as citizens. This country here, that's one of the things. You can be a Republican, you can be a Democrat, but when it comes to the United States of America, that flag, they are together, they unify themselves, and that's one of the things that make them so stronger and so powerful. To the extent they call themselves the best in the world, the best army, the best police. It's because of that convictions that are proud that they have. Where are we as a Liberian? The problem in Liberia today is not just on the national government. That's my opinion. That's my view. Just allow me to express it, because one of the things where we find it very difficult to accept other people's views, other people's opinions, and our inability to encourage and have those conversations and ask them why, which is always lacking. But we have to get there. The problem in Liberia is not just on the opposition. The problem in Liberia is compound complex. All of us. It is a sovereign nation that we are talking about. And if this is the case, then all of us have a shared responsibility to ensure that a good things comes out of Liberia. So, it is important that we all do our part. Where am I going with this here this evening? Yeah, the challenge is to the folks in Liberia for Liberia Public Radio and all of those in the media industry. Whatever you're doing, you have to take it seriously. It is important, because people are in desperation for news. But in much they are in desperation for news, they also have the ability to also check what you are telling them. Even though that's not what most of them are interested in, and this is why if you look at some of these platforms, people have their specific groups of demographic that it really play into. Why? It's almost like a Trump land. There are certain places you go, there are certain language you want them to speak. And for this reason, it has made it very difficult for other institutions that try to do what is right, to speak the truth as it is. Our politicians, governments, opposition, advocacy group, they become selective where to go to channel their message, because they avoid asking questions that is should answer as hair or group that also in the advocacy business. So even if you are advocating, if you are a government official, you must open yourself to be held accountable. Equally, when you are opposition, being an opposition does not mean everything about you is right. Why? The ruling party today, that is the focus points of all of these dramas unfolding. They were one opposition before, and they told us, and without anybody asking questions, but we were sentimental, we were judgmental, we came up with a conclusion without even studying the case that everything gonna be all right. And here we are finding it difficult. So we do not want to go on that route again to say that because someone is coming on to be the new Messiah, to the new Redeemer, because the Son of Man said he's going to be coming when we just don't know when he's going to be coming, and we allow those people to play, to do whatever they can do. I just want to encourage the hard-working folks here inside Liberia for Liberia Public Radio. We sign off with a commitment to do it differently. We sign up for a commitment to bring honesty into this. We sign up for a commitment that even if we hear it from one side, we will also give the opportunity from the other side to get the adversion. We sign up for the commitment not to be judgmental. We sign up for the commitment not to insert our own personality, even though it is very, very difficult, don't get me wrong. Anybody who sits behind the microphone without having some sort of personal feelings about a situation, but it has to be contained, it has to be minimized, because why? You have viewers, you have listeners, you have people that are listening to you, and based on what you're going to put out there, it will give them the sense of direction. But when I come here and start unleashing and start innuendos or saying things that are just not factual, because simply those that are listening to me, that's what they are interested in, because that's where they found themselves. That's why we are different here. We do not tell you what you need to know or what you want to hear. We tell you what you need to know about your country, about the society, about your place, about the country called Republic of Liberia. If we are to make progress, if we are to advance as a nation, as a sovereign nation, 123 now, 173 year we're going to? Yes, July. Then we have to. But we also know that the social media has been the very key factors in changing today's world. And so there's a good ambassador to everything, because you do not really have control over that. So anybody comes out and say any information, but our inability to verify. And that's why a real journalist or somebody who knows it would always want you to have 2-3 sources. You don't just want to hear it and run with it and say yes. And that's why it is important. Credibility is key into this. When you sit over the platform and you begin to talk, you begin to say things, people should be able to get a take away. So as we today, I want to welcome one of my mentors, someone that I really have to have conversation with. The days of James Gomiant in Liberia of State Radio, ELBC and ELWA, I'm not sure whether we're going to have those assistant. And all because time has involved significantly with the digital world, a lot of things happening. It makes it very difficult. But those were people during their days. The late Gaswat Yamento, the late Moses Washington, and all of those people, when they were on the air, on the wavelength, when they're speaking and when they are doing things, you say yes. And there are few people still around there. Emmanuel Buya, the late Carton Carpe, when he was Minister of Information. Those days when the Minister of the ministry, when they are speaking for the government, you don't have multiple people talking, because they understand the dynamic as they speak not just only to the nation, they speak to foreign embassies and foreign missions accredited near the capital. It is not, they're not just only speaking for their political parties, so their thoughts are well seasoned. They know the consequences when it goes out and how to get the damage control. But where you wake up nowadays, because society is so involved in the loyalty aspect, and people are more or less protective of their little jobs that they have, that are making them to sustain as well. When you look at all of them factor in, so all of their loyalties go to their bosses. They glorify, even when darkness comes, to even tell their boss, say, no, let us do it this way. Everything is yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And that's one of the things that get our country to be what it is. And in order to unearth, and in order to change the culture of corruption, dishonesty, and deception, the lack of interest of our country, the way people screw up, the way the people rob their own country, Liberia, I have never seen that on planet Earth. Politicians, oppositions, advocates, when they are sitting on the bank of the river, they profess to be the Messiah. But when you put them in that building, they have people that will receive them, they have people that will initiate them into that culture, and will tell them, say, you know what, when you were out there, that's a different thing, but here we are in a different world. So you know how long these people out there been talking? They have professional, seasoned people that will welcome them, they will orientate them to the culture, and eventually they will drown into the culture. That's what happens. Politicians, they're quick to slip like this. And at the end of the day, their trumpet will be blame game. And we can say for us here, the time for blame game is over. It's time to be action-oriented. Whatever you say, you talk and talk and talk, you have to perfect that into action by putting something to avoid that thing happening. Getting on Facebook, getting on YouTube, getting on Twitter will not help. The action part, if you are a lawmaker, put the legislation in place. Work with people. Yeah. That's what the people do here that's what happens in this great nation. You will see some Republicans and some Democrats. Their interest is to represent their constituents and whatever good for their country. They don't, whether it was Obama time or Donald Trump time, there are some folks. Their interest is their country. So sometimes they will take some bizarre decision. It's not for their party because they want to stay in power, or they are so much interested, they want to be senator or representative for the life of the law. No. And this is why they have professional people. Some of these people, they are all veterans, they are doctors, they are psychologists, they are different people, different they are lawyers and all of that. So they don't really worry that if I leave representative or I'm not a minister again today, they can, they will hell heaven going to fall down on them. No. But this is why it's lacking in Liberia. How many of our former senators or lawmakers or ministers that can point at something to say, okay, this is so technical institute, or they are going back to their own county to be teachers in the technical or community colleges? That's why everybody is rushing in government, because government is the higher employer in our country. And if you want to get rich so quick, so fast, without anybody asking you anything, when you steal it is embezzle, you're a big guy or a little guy, you steal, they lock you up, you go in government. So we in this industry, we have to set the stage. We have to change that tone with the responsible, seasoned conversations that we'll be having. When we begin to have an exception, you treat certain group nicely and you treat other people differently, then that's where the problem going to be coming from. And so we hope as we and like I told my guys, as we hope gradually foot on ground in Liberia, we will do the right thing. If you will be with us, we have our own principles that will follow. Either with us, because we can be institutions and move as an individual, and you want to do it your way. No way, it can't work. You can't be in two places at the same time, and this is a challenge that we are faced with in the country. And that's why our politicians, the oppositions, and people who prefers to be people in the interests of the society of the country, we are abused, unknowingly abused, because people, they look one way, they face their war, and they forget to know that they are not stagnant. You can twist your neck, your hair, and see who is behind you. It reminds me what were in Sierra Leone during the war, the civil war. And this UN social of protections officer at the time, the chairman of the refugee, over 300 some thousand Liberian refugees in Camp Waterloo, Jerry. The UNHCR brought our ration, and you have the Sierra Leoneans, they call it SSD, the police, joint security. They were taking care of the rations, almost 300 some more thousand refugees, food rations, starfish, all kinds of stuff. Those guys brought the food, I think, Friday, Saturday for distribution to start. Early morning we wake up. We have a leadership in place, we call it executive committees of the Liberian refugee Waterloo. Went under the tank. All young people of our ages. God, I won't go, Lord. The whole warehouse was empty. And when the people came, they asked the commander. I remember his name very well, Bangura. When Mr. Chandat, who was a protection officer, for those of those that were in refugee that knows the story, when I asked Mr. Bangura, Cornet or Sergeant Bangura, he said, "Oh boy, another sabi what happened? No. What do you mean by United Sabi? You are commander. This is the ration food warehouse. This is your guard or whatever guard post or whatever, with all your men having arm and everything. The refugee camp is couple of feet away." He said, "Boy, another get two eye. When I look at it, look ping, another look beyond." And that's what we Liberians are doing with the look ping. You just look straight ahead. So it means he was sitting before the warehouse, right? And people, he doesn't have eyes behind him to see what was happening. So he didn't look behind, he was just looking ahead, and that entire warehouse was empty. And that's what we are doing as Liberians. We look ping, we not look behind. We don't twist our neck, we don't sit, we don't ask questions. People say things quickly because we are so empathetic, or we are so enticed with those individuals, with the institution. They say it and that's it, and we cannot even ask the question why, or we cannot ask that individual to repeat himself or herself repeatedly. They say it, we draw conclusions. That's what we do sometimes on these platforms. When people call in and they begin to speak their mind as a Liberian, as a citizen who also have some sort of dearest part in their heart about their country, when they ask questions, you hear other people cut him off. That's so person. That's so person. We label people. We become so fast and so hasty to run a judgment. That's how you will be when they make you police tomorrow. I think that's Cote d'Ivoire, Australia. You who care complain first, you win the day. That's not the kind of society that we want. If Liberia is to go well, if Liberia is to be okay, we need to have a thin skin. Don't be tricked up by little things. By the time they call one person your party leader or some kind of person, because that person, he or she is your breadwinner, you call that person name, then you start flipping up. And the person, you begin to call names. Look, when it comes to the country called Liberia, no one person owns it. It's all of us. And every living being, every person who or she is a born of a Liberian or person who have that country have the right to talk about our country, to discuss about our country. You can have a different view, you can have a different opinion, but it must be done with civility. How will we change the mindset of people if we will consistently shut people off that we will not know the conclusions of their statement? By the time they start in the first, second, no, you're not making sense. You're talking stupidness. You're not doing this. As the result, things that we're supposed to hear, we don't hear them. Things that they're supposed to talk to know their inner part in the way that we will engage them in the genuine conversation. Are you guys not aware that our country, people in our country, we all are traumatized? The war that fought in our country, it didn't have a small war. Do you think these people that wake up, or you think the wear coat suit, we all dress, we're doing this? Even some of us that are in America, even up to this point here, are you not aware the way the bizarre things that people are doing? Do you think is normal for the person? Can we ask those questions? Well, if you can ask the question, we can ask this question. The killing that went on in Bangladesh the other day, people taking people's lives away. Some of those people, they were heavily involved in the civil war. They did some horrible, horrifying things. The repercussion of those things is getting at them. So if we are to have a good and safe society, we have to question cautions of our government to provide the facility, to provide the institution that will be able to not just only not being the humanitarian because you're a senator, you're a representative. Your humanitarian should focus on legislation to establish, to hold these institutions, to make these institutions that have authority over each and everything, to make it more functional and give it the support, financial, moral, and equip it to make it functional. You senator, you representative, you gave me rest today. So come 2023, suppose you are no more senator, will you give me that same rest you giving me? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So we who sit over this media's outlet, if we fail to create the educations, the information to sensitize our people what they need to know, and to have that genuine conversations and be tolerant and persevere to listen to their side of the story, and sometimes put it in our shoes. Yes, okay. It's like a child. A little boy eating a dry coconut. Okay. But you take the coconut from the child. Where else are you going to give the child? To leave the child crying? That's what we're doing. Yes, I know sometimes it's annoying, the behavior of our people. Such is the conditions, such is the time. Poverty makes people to devalue yourself as a human being. And that's why it's happening. If you were in a village with a woman, 4 or 5 children, and they pray, and the children just see you come today, say, Papa coming. One day, no plastic bed. The next day, Papa coming. One of the first one will be there will say, but let he come. Why? Because there is no little bag without little fancy bread or fuller bread or donut in our bag. So the issue in Liberia, it is so much huge to the extent that all of us. It has to be addressed simultaneously across. If you settle the political issue and leave out the social issue, the deal is still unsettled. If you settle the social issue and leave out developmental issue, it's still unsettled. So they have to go together simultaneously, bit by bit, that we will address them with a tangible result. Then we'll be able to move ahead as a country and as a people. Other than that, it will be very, very, very much difficult. Very, very, very much difficult. This Sunday, we're going to be wrapping up here. We try to pay a special respect to someone that I've devoted him to as a young person, Mr. Mike Dan, who is our station manager. You know what I mean in Liberia, that you're not taking pay and you just, doing stuff, and you not even know when the better days will come, but you still there hanging in there. That's a sacrifice. Well, this Sunday, you remember the issues of his organic clinical thing from Madagascar. President Andrew Rojalina, new discoveries of his coronavirus, which of course Liberia seems to be. A lot of African countries has embraced that, and they are giving it a huge publicity without taking a lot of things into consideration. Tanzania, Guinea-Bissau, Equatorial Guinea, the Comoros, Congo, Senegal, the Republic of Congo. Then, of course, we saw images, the president of the Republic of Liberia also receiving that essay. Don't get me wrong. We want something cure. We want something to put these things to a rest. But this Sunday, we decided to reach out to someone with the expertise, and that's what we do, to have a genuine conversation. Dr. Christopher Dube-Nyant, one of the funniest scientists of Liberia. I remember 2015, there were some things he discovered that potentially was a cure for this Ebola and all of the viruses and stuff. Dr. Christopher Dube-Nyant will be my special guest this Sunday at 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Liberia Public Radio. And we will be getting her perspective on this clinical, the good. We're going to look at the good and the bad side of it. We're asking some tough questions. We are hearing the president, the president of Madagascar, announced on the chat to the nation when he spoke to the nation. And they are talking about building the factory now. It's been supported by some Westerners and ordered from pharmaceutical to industry as well, factory, to have that stuff built in 3 months, in a month time. How possible, how realistic is that? These are questions and things that we're going to be talking about. All right, the issue of Mr. Smith, hopefully in Thursday's editions of All Things Considered, we're going to look at that and government positions as well moving forward. So if he comes up next time to give briefing from the office of the president, should we consider it? But I'm glad on the other side of the story that for he to come out to also admit that he lied. So there's a good side of it and there's a bad side. So we need to encourage people that when they lie, they should come out to tell us, I'm sorry for what I did. And I think he was courageous to do that. So we should give it to him. We should not execute him. Because if we did, we are only adding more insult. We are only adding more problem to the already problem. Because people will lie, say, okay, you see, Smith lied yesterday. He went and told, he came later on to tell the police, you see what the people did to him. So then we'll be giving room to more people to do bad, and they will just sit by and say, my man, I don't want to tell you anything. I don't know what was the intensity, but we are also hearing part of that. Timothy, remember, Timothy is an American citizen, then he plays football, and here, Uncle Sam, and they can go in your toenail to get whatever information they want to get. So if they look at what he earned here, if it doesn't commensurate with the property or things that we are talking about, the probability to other folks that we have talked to, There are a lot of components involved, and he is not willing to also damage his own career, because he's a grown man. He will have his own life to live. The president, he's a president already. So when he had to charge people as a collaborator, if you don't know of something, you didn't do something, and person say he did it, and you didn't say it, you not there, you here, you didn't say anything, you can charge you as somebody who facilitated the crime. So we are also hearing that Uncle saying, wait a minute, this is how much we are paying you, this is how much you're working here to know what you get, you're earning. So when they see you, it's not like in Liberia. We didn't ask the people. Somebody making $7,000, they get $1 million worth of property. Where is that other money coming from? Whose money they are using? So you can't get away with Uncle Sam. Well, I've been informed reliably. We don't know the truth yet, but people close. Yes, Uncle Sam already jumped on here and say, look, this is what you need to do. Other than that, then it's for you. And if it is for you, and you know this country here, people do money laundering, they do all sort of stuff. So you can be who? If you don't put your acts together, it's not going to take you a second. Uncle Sam will put you, they will bring you down, they will take you on. So you look at it like, you know what? I'm not going to damage my career. So there are a lot of things involved. But we know what it means to speak for a national government, or to do the dirty work of a national government, not to mention the president. So Mr. Toby found himself in a very volatile situation, like a piece of cloth between the scissors. You want to put the scissor through, and other people say, don't put it through. And somebody say, put it through. You don't do it, you will not go this way. That was the situation he caught himself in, especially when you're speaking for national government. Remember the story of during the civil crisis in Liberia, just to wrap up? Dr. Abbas Bono, the former Secretary General of ECOWAS, when Doe was captured and killed, today happens to be his birthday. And when Reuben White asked him, when the pushing, he said that was the plan of ECOWAS. When he came back for the second time, he said that was a slip of tongue. Politicians, that's who they are. And I would take into consideration his first statement. But he came back cleverly to defend and have it fixed. So that's it. What happens from Smith Toby, from the executive, and to say people that are inner part of something, yes, you came, nobody put fingers in your throat. It was you that said it multiple times. If you don't know it, don't speak about it. Don't speak about it. Simple as it is. It is inexcusable. It is indefensible. If I were you just apologize as it is and leave it. And tell the Liberian people you deceived them, and simple as it is. And I think we must be conciliatory. Right? Yeah. People take $1 million, they're all gone. We're not doing anything to them. Helen Johnson, Sally, Alice Tyler, and all of those people there, the case cartoon, the man lied. They were billing there, they're still billing it. But at least it came back. It is not in defense of him. But I'm trying to be a realist. He has come, he has apologized, we must be conciliatory, we must accept it. The only thing we were asking now, how can we believe him at this time again, even if he's speaking for the president or when he's speaking for the government? That's the situation now he's going to find himself in. So there's going to be a long thing that he's going to deal with. So now we will be asking, the one you say now, is that something, are you part of the inner cycle? And I don't know who he was making reference to. I have a standard invitation to Mr. Smith, long time, how many, almost a year. Hopefully at his own timing he will appear on our network because we want to have a genuine conversation. So that's what we want to do, and this is why we do not even the Minister Fagon, who was always my regular host, but for now it is the way it is. Well, folks, this is a little bit brush out here. I want to welcome our main candidate, Kolot, who is also based in Riverside, County Republic of Liberia, to also volunteering for the Liberia Public Radio. I saw it. I will be having Dr. Christopher Dubenyan, is Liberian, one of Liberia's finest scientists. We will be getting his take on this clinical coronavirus from Madagascar that most West African nations are currently celebrating or trying to put to a test. We want to know the good, the bad side, what is involved. Why did the president of Liberia went there to receive that? What was the significance? What was the importance of that? You have the Ministry of Health, you have the Director of Public Health. Why would the president go to receive that consignment? What is the importance? What is the significance? Did it go through the regulations of our health industry in Liberia? And if so, why didn't go to see it? And even if we don't have a laboratory, but to also tell the world that we have our own organized and established system, okay, we're going to put it here. What happened? That thing was some sort of explosive or something, God forbid. Then they execute our president for no reason. Because first of all, he has no business to go there to receive it. That's my own position I'm taking. I could be wrong. And that's an open position. We are in a very volatile world today. A lot of crazy things going on. So what happened if there are just some kind of people, Mako, and just go there and set up something? And the president and government official, the Minister of Health should have gone there with the team from the Public Health, Director of National Public Health. I will be asking Dr. Christopher Dubenyan all of these technical questions. I'm Afonso Ziensot of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We just want to give a kudos to our man, Mr. Mike Dant, our station manager inside Liberia, for his hard work and all of the team. We are getting there and we will be there. Until then, join the liberal progressive of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV, Samson Roku Branto, from Saxton, that is Sacramento to California, right here in the USA. Until then, have a pleasant evening. My own cause, Elizana Kuyage, they said the walkabout child can see their man. But it's never late, better late than never. But I join me here Thursday with all things considered right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. Until then, to our own brother and friend and station manager of LPR, Mike Dant, we say have a happy birthday. And I will be taking you to your own land of Nima County this afternoon with Maurice the King taking us home. Have a pleasant afternoon. Bye-bye.
You can make a yes, you're the Piero, the Koba, yes, Naepono, Yasibo, then Nuna Capre, Kawatambora Cave, Megane, Kaye talk one day. I do know yes, I talk when I over, more possibly that don't do it, when Nuna. Aye, tanka sibabo, yapo na usubo, mama kwa tekabo, yapo papa nurabo, hataka enwabo, akwaze momerabo, kaya mungate tibo, sebuda kwanutira, yedaka tuape na ndo yekone. Lamako manatone atopia nyakontoka amna yeduna ngosana alasana ye alado kuwabo saya o ye dua plare papa tokan o babo papa tokan o babo ye bringa toka se wa papa tokan o baso papa Wobo sikaya, kaba wobo, kaba nale, kaba wobo sikawa, kaba wobo, kaba nale, wobo sikamu, kaba wobo, kaba nale, kaba wobo suba, alugu, baby alugu, alugu. Is
Kill the beat.
On the beat.
Kill the beat.
On the beat.
Is proving popular in the battle against COVID-19, but with no proof it actually works. Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina says it's so effective he's exporting it to the other side of the continent. Guinea-Bissau's president is also impressed. He visited the airport to welcome the new shipment.
This donation is a gesture in the fight against the global pandemic called COVID-19. I'd like to say with this, Guinea-Bissau will be seen in a very different concept of nationhood. It will be seen as a country that always has good people. And today, the world will talk about Guinea-Bissau.
It's the second country to have imported it. The herb, which is used as a tonic, contains the Artemisia plant, which is normally used to treat malaria. But the World Health Organization warns that the effectiveness of the herb has not been proven or even tested by scientists. But that hasn't stemmed its popularity. Tanzania's president says he's in talks with Madagascar to send a plane to collect a shipment.
Tulipopeleka sample
We are already in touch with Madagascar. They wrote us an official letter informing us about their cure. We shall send our airplane to go and pick the drugs so our citizens can also reap the benefits.
Tanzania has recorded 17 deaths, but the government has been accused of failing to take the virus seriously. In the capital, Dar es Salaam, it's business as usual. Schools are shut, but markets, mosques and churches remain open. And back in Madagascar, the army has been knocking door to door to give the tonic to the most vulnerable people. The country has so far recorded few cases and no fatalities, but government actions have gone beyond the herb. Mask wearing and social distancing rules have been enforced. Measures medical experts say are effective, even if the tonic is not. Laura Burden-Manley, Al Jazeera. This herbal remedy is proving popular in the battle against COVID-19, but with no proof it actually works. Madagascar's President Andre Rajoelina says it's so effective he's exporting it to the other side of the continent. Guinea-Bissau's president is also impressed. He visited the airport